we're at a point now where we need local approval in order to go to the next step on a lot of permitting and outside agency approvals that we need. We've submitted to every agency at this point in time. Our goal is to put a shovel in the ground by October 1st. Might be a little aggressive goal, might need the help of Lebanon, but that's our goal. Our goal is to shovel in the ground for what we call phase one, which is the west side, and shovel in the ground on the east side a year after that.
Okay. And also, you understand that there is a redevelopment planning process occurring as we speak with the borough. You're aware that they've designated this an area in need of redevelopment. You're working with the borough in terms of assuring that the redevelopment plan will address any further requirements the borough has relative to the redevelopment of this property.
Correct.
Okay.
And we fully anticipate that there will be a redevelopment agreement that we would enter into with the town, with the borough, at such time that the redevelopment plan has been adopted. The other aspect that I need you to just confirm is the ownership of Corporate Drive. You own virtually the whole length of Corporate Drive, correct? Yeah, we own from Route 22 up almost to Cokesbury Road, except for maybe the last 100, 200 feet. Now, we own it, it's on our property, but we all belong to an owners association. So everybody has a vested interest. We can't just go and vacate Corporate Drive. We have to provide access to the other owners in Corporate Drive.
And therefore, as an owner of Corporate Drive, one of the issues that we are very well aware of with the borough is pedestrian circulation, and that you're committed to working with the borough on a pedestrian circulation plan that would make sure that pedestrians could access both ends of Corporate Drive, which you own, through a safe sidewalk system, correct? And then as part of the redevelopment agreement, there will be incorporated requirements for off-track improvements that will also facilitate pedestrian safety, particularly on the crossing of Route 22.
Correct.
And that you will agree as a redeveloper that ultimately there will be a redeveloper agreement in accordance with the local redevelopment housing law, which commits you and the borough to a mutual path of development of this property.
Correct.
Okay. And that it's your intention to then execute that redevelopment agreement in accordance with the financial agreement for payment in lieu of taxes that would then finalize the permitting process for you on this development.
Correct.
Okay.
And just want to make sure that there's an agreement that because there's no pedestrian circulation plan now available for Corporate Drive, that the subsequent pedestrian circulation plan, whatever form that's going to be in, is going to be subject to an amended preliminary site plan approval, correct?
As part of the redeveloper agreement through the redevelopment plan, yes.
Well, regardless of let's assume for argument's sake, the worst case scenario that I could not imagine happening, but hypothetically, if something happens and there's no redevelopment plan.
Right. Mr. Field, if I can, for the benefit of the other board members, because I know you participated in all the meetings, and I think the mayor was part of the meetings, and I'm not sure who else. We've had several meetings, starting off with meeting with DOT to deal with the entire pedestrian circulation plan. And that's not only on Corporate Drive, but it's also on Cokesbury Road and how we get people.
Right. But the off-site stuff, that I agree with Mr. Ken Smith, that's subject to the redevelopment plan. What I'm talking about is normally
The on-site.
because that road is 90% of Corporate Drive is on your property.
Right.
So that, in my opinion, that's not an off-site improvement, that's actually an on-site improvement. Normally, before the board could grant preliminary site plan approval, besides reviewing the ordinances to make sure the application complies with them, and where they don't, determining whether or not to grant variances and exceptions, there's 4 essential elements of the development that the board has to find or satisfy to grant preliminaries. One is drinking water, sanitary sewer, stormwater, and traffic circulation, which includes, in my opinion, pedestrian traffic circulation. So in a normal case, I would be telling the board, you can't grant preliminary site plan approval here because there's no pedestrian circulation along the road. But in this case, what I'm advising them is, as long as the applicant agrees to a condition that if the board grants preliminary approval for the buildings, subject to a condition that there's going to be traffic and pedestrian circulation on Corporate Drive on site, and it's gonna be subject to an amended preliminary site plan approval, then I'm comfortable telling them, in that case, they could grant preliminary site plan approval for the project.
And you agree?
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear.
And just again, so the board understands, this is something that was identified in our settlement with the borough back in 2019, in paragraph 11 of our memorandum of understanding, expressly addresses the need for, the off-track and on-track pedestrian circulation. So this is something we've been working on for 3 years now with the borough in terms of